Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Time once again to get into another exciting round of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. There we go. I just need to go and set up my mic for this one. Almost forgot. But now we can go and start things off with this one. Yes, welcome, hello. I hope you guys are doing extremely well this week, because I've got a whole bunch of fun-filled stories to go and talk about for you all. Especially the fact that when I got some trailers and a few other crazy stories, some that have been continuing from previous episodes, and some newly developed stories and some newly crafted ones. Either way, we got a whole bunch of variety of stories to go and discuss about, and I'm sure we are all gonna have a great time in today's episode. So with all that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you guys, are you all ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, chat wall. Are you ready to go and get things started? Alright, let's see. We got some people prepared. It looks like we're all set up. Yes, we're all ready. We're all gonna go and get things started. That's great. Alright. Now, with that said, oh yes, and a little side note. Yes, today, it is November 9th, 2019, which actually marks the 100th anniversary of one of the first ever cartoon stars, Felix the Cat. So happy 100th to Felix. So with all that said and done, let's go ahead and get this one started. And to start this one off, we're going to start by looking into the trailers. And the first big trailer that we have is actually regarding one of the upcoming animated films of next year. And already, it has been making people really hyped up for this one, much more so than the other animated film that this studio is going to be releasing in 2020. Now, of course, there might not be some perfectly great reactions. It's not everything about it that will be exciting, because trust me, this is going to be something that we will be discussing a lot about. But with that said, of course, what I'm talking about is going to be one of Pixar's upcoming animated features. We already know a good chunk about what's happening with Onward, but now we're going to be looking into the next one, the other original animated feature that they're going to be releasing next year, which is going to be directed by Pete Docter, the new Chief Creative Officer at Pixar. So with that said, let's go ahead and get our first look with the teaser trailer of Soul. Let me just go ahead and set up, and let's go and check it out right now.
What would you want to be known for on Earth?
And yes, that is Soul, in which is going to be coming out this summer, in June 19th, to be precise. And may I say, wow. Just wow. So far, the only thing this movie did is just release a teaser trailer, and I already feel more hooked on this one, more so than I have ever done for Onward, honestly, because the thing with Soul, the thing that really grabbed me immediately, much more than what Onward could ever do, is that already it presents me an original concept. And the fact that it is a teaser trailer, it doesn't really get into it a lot yet, but it is a pretty nice introduction, a really good first look to see what this is, because it's promising us that we're about to enter into something that we have never experienced before. We're going to be going into this new world that no one has ever dived into, that we don't know what this is all about. Like, this is going to be a brand new, unique experience. And on top of that, what really makes this a great teaser trailer is actually right at the beginning, where it's not just a teaser trailer. It's also the fact that it also plays as kind of like this motivational video, where watching this, it makes you feel so pumped up about yourself that it gives this great inspirational speech about what is it that you want to be remembered for. Like, what kind of legacy do you want to leave out that also brings out the most you out of yourself? Like, what would truly define you instead of doing the typical average job that society would normally expect you to do in order to have like a safe average life that no one would really go and remember you for? Like, how would you yourself would go out there and stand out? Like, that's kind of like the beauty of this trailer, is the way that it kind of makes you pumped up about yourself at the same time as this movie. While also, not only does it do that, like speak to the audience, but also it does give you a bit of an introduction to the main character, whom I believe, just want to double check, like Pixar, like I'm using the YouTube video from Pixar's YouTube page, and they do give out a great description. Like the main character, of course, he's played by Jamie Foxx, and like we do see that this guy, like, he wants to be this up and coming jazz musician, where he did a little bit of an audition where he would play the piano for this little band, and somehow it seems like he's all excited that he got the part, and then suddenly, whoop, he fell in this manhole, and he found himself like in this new, like, cartoonier form. So in a way, what this is promising us is that it's really gonna be a lot about Jamie Foxx's character, which I think they already gave him a name. It's actually Joe, and from there, like, Joe becomes like this new little weird being. And the movie itself, in a way, the format seems like it's promising us that it's going to be a little bit like Inside Out, where you're gonna have the realistic world where it looks like it's set in this like this big city, almost like I would say if there's a place that it is set specifically, then it's probably in New York City, especially like the guy in the office where he's like, what am I doing? It looks like he's in an area that's like in Wall Street or something like that, you know, just like handling people's money. And like, especially like when you go look into, when you look at the streets, it looks like a bit of this New York style or Manhattan style neighborhood, where it's some place like in the Bronx or Long Island or someplace like that. It does look like a New York setting, but also, may I add, if there is one thing that people are the most impressed about so far, it's hands down the animation in the real world, because it looks gorgeous. Like, it really truly captures this big city feel. The designs actually look very nice. The animation is smooth and crisp. Everything about it just looks gorgeous. And it feels real. Like, yeah, sure, this is all cartoons. This is all an animated world, but it's also very relatable in the sense of realism of just this average life in the big city, and especially when looking into the artistic side, or in this case, we look into a bit of this one musician side, you know, just going through life, just trying to make a quick buck while still also doing something that he is very passionate about, which is piano playing for jazz. And honestly, there is also some element that you could definitely tell quickly. Just want to quickly back it up. Like, there are also some elements that you could definitely tell that even the art style itself, that the animation, the design of the characters, and even the atmosphere, it feels a lot jazz influence. There is an art style that is actually heavily influenced by jazz, and whenever you would go into jazz clubs and stuff like that, they do have a certain art style whenever they would present some art like paintings or sketches or stuff like that. And this is actually very reminiscent to that. There's like so much layers that's already going into the beginning aspect of this Soul teaser trailer, and that's kind of the beauty of it. Like this, like just the first, like I would say like the first 50 seconds of it already highlights a prominent example of why so many people love Pixar, why many people to this day still consider Pixar as the kings of animation, because their style is just so beautiful. They know how to execute animation in a way that really brings us into this brand new world. It really shows what animated films can do and what animated films should be. But then you get into the little cartoony world, and that's when things get a little bit different. And as I stated before, that's why you do get a little bit of a sense of Inside Out, where you got the realistic world, and then suddenly you also get transported into this cartoony world where you see like Jamie Foxx's character Joe suddenly becomes this like little droplet of a character. Now, granted, I will give this trailer a bit of a benefit of the doubt. I will give the movie the benefit of the doubt, because here's the big thing. We're talking about a teaser trailer, and this has yet to fully discuss about this new enchanted world that Joe somehow finds himself in. We have yet to fully grasp the idea of what this place is in the first place. So whatever we would think of what this little section of the teaser trailer is, so far it's just speculation. We don't know 100% sure what is truly going on. But I will say so far, this is the weakest part of the teaser trailer, I would say. Like, where there's this one random moment where they decided, hey, let's just have Tina Fey's character where she's gonna go and have a goofy dance. Like, the point of this inspirational speech is that Joe is trying to talk to Tina Fey's character, who, by the way, is named 22, and she just says, I want to do a funny little dance. Yeah, that's what I want to be known for. I'd do a funny dance. And that's pretty much it. It's not really that good of a joke. If the whole setup of the motivational speech is to set up for that joke, it's like, that I'm not gonna lie, that's a little bit of a fail. But again, I want to give it the benefit of the doubt, because it cannot be just this. It's not like the cartoony aspect is just gonna be this. Especially the fact that we are talking about a movie in which Pete Docter is directing it, and he has done such an incredible job so far with movies such as Up and Inside Out. I'm sure that he has a lot more up his sleeve than just something like this. It's not just gonna be it's not gonna be like Tina Fey's character just doing this stupid little cowboy dance. There's gonna be a lot more to it than that. But I will say so far that overall, with this trailer of Soul, I wouldn't say it's a great trailer, but I will say this is actually a really, really good trailer. It doesn't reveal all of its secrets just yet, which is probably a great thing, because you never know, maybe in a few months or sometime in the beginning of 2020, I'm expecting probably most likely close to the release of Onward in March, where we're probably gonna go and see like the full trailer, and from there it will fully show us a lot more of the fantasy world that it's gonna be set in. Or maybe it will be like Inside Out, where Joe is gonna be jumping from the little fantasy world to the realistic world that everybody is already invested in, that everybody already sees that it is just absolutely beautiful. That could actually be the case. But for now, so far, I will say this is actually very good. I am very impressed by the animation that's been displayed so far. I love the motivational aspect of talking about what do you want to be remembered for? Like, what do you want to have your, like, what legacy do you want to leave on this earth? You know, just all that stuff. This honestly feels absolutely exciting. already I would put this as one of my more anticipated animated films of 2020. I'm not going to say the most anticipated because there could be some elements that I could be wrong. Maybe the cartoony aspect is not going to be as strong as the realistic aspect. Who knows? But again, this is just a teaser trailer. That's just our first look. And we will know a lot more with how Soul is going to be when that film is going to be coming out on June 19th, 2020. So with all that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you guys, what do you all think of the teaser trailer of Soul? Are you guys highly impressed by it? Is the last element, is Tina Fey's dance a bit of a turnoff for you guys? Do you think it's great? Do you think it's bad? Are you excited for this? Are you not? Let me know what you all think. Okay. Let's see now. I agree with you, Animat. I love Pixar, the champions of Oscars and one of the best animation studios. Pete Docter is making a great job on this new film, and I'm looking forward to it, now that he is going to be in charge of Pixar now. Well, just in charge creatively. Just keep in mind, he's just the chief creative officer. That doesn't mean he's the head of all Pixar. Let's see now. This film is honestly Pixar's first spiritual successor to one of their original films. It could actually be the spiritual successor to Inside Out because of Pete Docter and the cartoony world we go into. In the cartoony world, Joe becomes a droplet like the emotions inside Riley's head. As for the movie itself, I'm twice as excited for this as I am excited for Onward. You know, I got a feeling there's going to be a lot more comments of that, and I'm starting to feel a little bit sorry for Onward. I mean, like, I'm a lot more excited for Soul than Onward myself, but, like, honestly, I do feel like it is gonna, it's gonna suck for Onward because, like, it's for sure that it will be quickly overshadowed by Soul. Like, if that tempo still continues and Soul does end up becoming a massive highlight of 2020 compared to what Onward would be. So there is a bit of that I feel like, I feel sorry for Onward, but then again, I guess, considering that it has yet to fully convince me of the concept itself, I guess it's its own fault. And I mean, you never know. Again, this is all a teaser trailer, so a lot of what we're saying here is just speculation, and who knows? Maybe this could legit be an Inside Out spiritual successor. Who knows? Maybe, like, you never know if maybe Riley herself is going to make a cameo in this movie, and we're going to see all the emotions in her head once again. You never know. I mean, like, I believe Riley did do a cameo in Finding Dory, so it's not really out of the so it wouldn't be hard to imagine that she could also go and make a cameo in something like Soul. You never know. Let's see now. Do we have any other comments? Oh, of course we do have plenty of other. The chat wall is filled to the brim with comments. All right, let's see now. I'm not really that excited about this movie so far. All that we really got about the world of Soul, aka U Seminar, was pretty much a black background with stars and a gray background. The Soul characters just look a bit too simple for me, and 22 just gives me the vibes of those annoying sidekick characters that Disney is somewhat known for. I would probably change my mind a bit if we are shown a bit more. Well, okay, I do completely understand what you're going with, because technically, like, this is going to be the part that looks like it's going to be the main aspect of Soul. This looks like it's going to be the bit, you know, that's going to be like the feature presentation, and what we got with the real world, that's just going to be a little bit of appetizers. And it is true that technically we didn't really see a whole lot of it, and that's why the cartoony aspect is not really getting as much appreciation or is not getting as much credit as the real world elements. But again, it's not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's the movie's fault. It's more because of the trailer's fault, I would say. Keep in mind, we are talking about a teaser trailer, and they're not going to go and reveal all of its secrets immediately. That would be a little bit too stupid, especially the fact that as I'm recording this, we are in the month of November, and the movie is going to be coming out in June. It's still 7 months away, so it doesn't have all the time to go and reveal its secrets. I mean, I'm kind of, for me, like, I do understand the criticisms, but at the same time, I do understand why they have to only present what they have to present, because it is just a teaser trailer. I think it would be a lot more upset if they would show a lot more of the fantasy world, much more than they did right now. So I'm just saying right there, it's a bit of an awkward balance, you know? It's not going to be easy to please everyone if you're only going to show little snippets. Okay, anyways, let's see now. I was thinking about watching this movie. This looks pretty interesting to watch. I am already hyped for it, and even more hyped than Frozen 2. Speaking of Frozen 2, that reminds me, I'm hoping that you do your top 10 Disney fails and other animation studio fails as well. What do you mean by fails, and what does it have to do with Frozen 2? I have no idea. Okay, I mean, the movie is not even out yet as I'm recording this, so I think it's a little too early to say that it is a fail, especially when I've heard that it already had its world premiere, and so far, I have heard that the reviews are pretty positive, especially the fact that it is much darker than the original. I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard so far. Let's see now. I really love the trailer. The setting feels like New York or Manhattan or New Orleans. I like Jamie Foxx's performance, and I wish him and the people at Pixar the best of luck with this movie. Feels like Inside Out, especially since Pete Docter is directing, and I know it's best to keep secrets hidden, but I was hoping to see more of this. Oh well, I guess we can't reveal everything about it, right? Well, I mean, you are correct on that, but we already did get a good chunk. Like, yeah, we didn't get enough of the fantasy element, but we did get a good amount of, like, the real world. Like, at least this element, the big downtown area, that's already enough of a great fill, and that thing has already hyped up a lot of people for this movie. So, in a way, it did do its job. Okay, let's see now. The teaser looks amazing. This honestly feels more like a short than a trailer. It feels like one of those motivational videos on YouTube. The humor is just not funny and did not make me laugh. I could smell the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie. This definitely is a great start for 2020, and keep in mind, this is released in 2020 when the 2010s is over. A lot of people were depressed and lost faith in humanity during that decade. This can bring hope back to people. Well, honestly, for 2020, I do agree, during the 2010 decade, it did went into a massive decline, especially with what's been happening with humanity and in politics and in our society and all that stuff. I would say it would probably take a lot more than just one movie in order to bring back hope for humanity. If anything, 2020 should be the decade where we need to learn from our mistakes in the 2010 decade. That's the big thing about it. All right, so I'm going to go and read one more comment before we're going to jump onto the next one. Let's see. Pete Docter is hands down my favorite director from Disney and Pixar because his stories are set in fantastical different worlds and usually focuses on unique themes such as love, change, grief, death, and has an emotional impact to the audience. I will say Tina Fey's performance was a letdown, but it's not enough to stop from wanting me to see this film. I see a great future for Peter since he's now in charge of Disney as well. Well, not necessarily. He's only the chief creative officer of Pixar. At Disney Animation, it's Jennifer Lee who's the new chief creative officer. So just want to make that little clarification there. All right, so just let me have my drink. Okay, so with that said, I'm sure we're all happy and excited for what's going to be happening with Onward, which again is going to be coming out on June 19th, I believe. Yes, it's on June 19th of 2020. I'm sure plenty of us are excited for it, but now it is time that we are going to go and jump onto our next story. And we have another teaser trailer to go and look into. But this time it's going to be a lot shorter than what we have seen on Soul. But very interestingly enough, I don't think this trailer has yet to appear on YouTube or any other platform. Oddly enough, the only place that I could find it is actually on Twitter, funny enough. And what I'm talking about is actually going to be the upcoming series that will appear on Nickelodeon, Baby Shark. And you know the weirdest thing is that for some reason, because of my internet browser, I can't really play the video. But don't worry, I do have a little bit of backup. That's why I got this little file right here, so we can actually go and see it. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the teaser trailer for Baby Shark. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, wait. Before we go, I need my headphones. I need to listen. There we go. Much better. Now we can begin.
Oh, man. Baby Shark, coming to Nickelodeon sooner or later.
Yes, folks, Baby Shark is gonna be coming to Nickelodeon. It will indeed be a massive thing. Now, before I get onto this little teaser trailer, I need to go and explain a little bit of my perspective of Baby Shark, just to have a little bit of an understanding what we're about to get into. Now, I know that there are plenty of people that hate Baby Shark, and I can already tell in the chat wall that there are people who cannot stand Baby Shark. For me, I'm not, like, and I do understand, like, some people are just way too overexposed, some people just don't like the novelty of it. There are different reasons. For me, like, I don't necessarily care all that much. I'm not as much of a hater on Baby Shark, the song, or anything like that. Like, I mean, it's a stupid song, so, like, really, it's one of those situations that if you're just gonna be dumb and you're not gonna be serious all along, then why should I? So why not just dab at Baby Shark, you know, Baby Shark, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, and all that kind of stuff. But, in all seriousness, though, I will say that even though I don't necessarily care that much for the Baby Shark song, and this is going to be something that might sound weird. I might have already said this before on a previous episode, but it might as well bear repeating here. But I do admire Baby Shark on a business level. And I know it seems very strange, like I admire the business of Baby Shark. What the fridge does that mean? Well, the thing with Baby Shark, when you do think about it, is that Baby Shark managed to do something that has often been considered impossible to go and achieve. And that is take a viral video that is aimed for small children and turn it into a global sensation and maintain it as a global sensation. And try to think about another YouTube video that is like Baby Shark that's aimed for little kids and it kept on being popular for a good while. It's almost impossible. And whenever there are those videos, like, keep in mind that there have been plenty of YouTube videos that have been released that are aimed for small children, and they have become viral sensations. But in terms of maintaining it, that's where every other video, I feel like they would go and completely fail. There are some people that don't know what to do when their video would become massively viral or become massively popular. A great example of what I'm talking about is regarding Johnny Johnny Yes Papa. You guys remember Johnny Johnny Yes Papa? You know when it became such a weird meme? Like, you got like these weird CGI characters, including a baby with a giant head, all these weird sound effects, and the song that's like Johnny, Johnny, you know that song? Though, like, that thing got massively popular, but it ended up becoming popular for all the wrong reasons because the studio that created that video had no idea what to do in terms of handling the fame. So much so that, I kid you not, the original creators of that video deleted the original Johnny Johnny Yes Papa video. There are a few others that you can find, but nowhere can you find the original video in itself. Like, they decided to just completely remove it on the internet, and from there, the popularity ended up going into the wrong hands, and that's when it became this really sick and twisted meme. Like, it was not geared for children whatsoever. The adults picked it up and they kind of ruined Johnny Johnny Yes Papa. Whereas Baby Shark, for example, there is a company behind it that knew how to handle the fame, which in this case is Pink Fong. Pink Fong saw that Baby Shark got massively popular, and they knew how to grow the franchise, how to make it grow to become much more than just this little video on the internet. They know how to grow it in order to give it merchandising, how to expand it to become a lot more videos, how to give each of the little sharks their own personalities to make them memorable characters, you know, and to pretty much maintain it as a global phenomenon. I think Baby Shark is like more than a year old. I could be wrong on that, but right now, Baby Shark's popularity is just continuously growing, and it doesn't seem like right now it's deflating or anything like that. They're doing a fantastic job, and right now, we are at the point where they are growing it into becoming a series for Nickelodeon. Now, with all that said, now that I've explained why I do admire Baby Shark in a different way, looking into this little trailer, admittedly, this is something that it didn't really show us really any much. We didn't really get all that much in terms of what's going to be happening. We're just really introduced to just the Baby Shark character, and that was pretty much it. That's all we really know. It's just like the little attitude of Baby Shark, and that's all. But I will say it did get me a little bit concerned with how they would portray the Baby Shark character, because I was thinking, like, is this going to be something that's directly on Nickelodeon? Because when you do look at the when you do look at the character of the Baby Shark character, you could tell that, like, it sounds like Baby Shark has kind of like this cool fourth wall breaking attitude, you know, like try to be cool and hip with the kids, you know. So, you know, try I guess that's the best way to put it, is that they're trying to give Baby Shark a little bit of an attitude.
Oh, right, duh, but that shouldn't take too long.
Well,
You know, try to be a little bit like, you know, try to be cool. You know, try to be relatable with some of the modern kids. And that had me a little bit concerned. That is until I saw on the original tweet itself of Baby Shark, where again and again and again, Nickelodeon has been replying to people and emphasizing the fact that this is not going to be on Nickelodeon, but rather, this is a Nick Jr. series. Which I gotta say, okay, it's for Nick Jr., so thank God, like, whew! That's a good thing that it is just for Nick Jr., because honestly, I would be a little bit concerned if Nickelodeon was trying to aim Baby Shark for an audience that's much older than 6 years old. Because if you're aiming Baby Shark to go for the same kind of audience as something like SpongeBob or The Loud House or anything like that, then I think we would have a little bit of problems. Because overall, when you do think about Baby Shark, it is for little children. Like, it is something that, for like 6 and under, those are that's the exact target audience that would love hearing Baby Shark. And that's why we see a lot of parents who hate Baby Shark, because the kids, they love playing that over and over again, like, Baby Shark, Baby Shark, you know, doing that all the godforsaken time. So honestly, it is a smart move, and that was something that I hope that this would happen with this series. I did hear before, like, I am aware that Baby Shark was gonna have a TV show. I honestly just forgot if it was gonna be like on Nickelodeon or on Netflix or something like that, but the fact that they are aiming for preschoolers, for little children, that I am relieved, and that I think it is smart, especially like when you got the art style right over here. It is very simplified, but it does stay true to the same art style of the original Baby Shark video, where it's very simple, it keeps itself with the basic colors, and it does stay, you know, it does stick to the Pink Fong art style, where like you got this cute looking shark. Like like it tries to stay true with the artwork that has been done, like a little bit of the familiarity of the viral video, but still have a little bit of its own identity as well. Like it did do a little bit of a comparison. Like here's what the original looks like, and then suddenly you got a little bit of a different look. That's a lot more round, that's a lot more kid-friendly, and that makes a lot more sense. So from there, that honestly gives me a little bit of an admiration for this series, and it knows who its target audience is, it knows what it wants to do, and it knows how it wants to expand. Like, it looks like it's a show that knows exactly how it can evolve from a little viral video to becoming this entire animated series made for children. And for that, I really do admire it. And I will say, there is something that I would like to comment about this Baby Shark series, that I've already seen this go viral on Twitter when people would discuss about it. But it's not necessarily their own reactions, but I do see a lot of people commenting of how others would react. More specifically, regarding how cartoon reviewers would react when they would see this Baby Shark trailer, or the fact that Baby Shark is coming to Nickelodeon, because I've already seen plenty of tweets that would get like thousands of likes where they would say that this is the kind of thing that completely triggers cartoon reviewers, the kind of TV show where they would make several videos and complete rants about how this is terrible, how Nickelodeon is such a terrible studio for making this, and just something that they would go completely over the top angry about. And there have been a few names that have been thrown out, but I'm not going to be naming them here, but this does seem to be a brand new stereotype that people are developing for cartoon reviewers, and that is ranting about Nickelodeon. And for me personally, I am not surprised that we have reached to that level, because it has been quite it's been quite a while since we've seen a lot of different cartoon reviewers making their own rant videos against Nickelodeon, specifically regarding some of their business practices, maybe in terms of how some of their shows suck, like Fanboy and Chum Chum and whatever, and especially with some of the new shows that they would announce that they would give massive backlash towards, more specifically with Camp Coral. Now, I understand that there are some reasonings that can be like, yeah, it does make sense why they would feel that way, but still, it's not going to change the internet's perspective that basically what they're doing is just a bit of a studio bias against Nickelodeon, that cartoon reviewers just have a hate boner for Nickelodeon, and that seems to be a bit of the new stereotype of cartoon reviewers. And again, I'm not surprised, because it looks like all the rantings about Nickelodeon, some of the business leaders, and Camp Coral, it's starting to really take a toll against them, and now it's starting to make them look bad. I knew this was gonna happen. Yeah, it sucks being, like, honestly, it sucks being portrayed as, like, not being liked because you have a massive bias against, like, a studio or a channel, but I can safely say, welcome to the frickin' club. Now you know how it frickin' feels. But, then again, like, yeah, I don't think, like, cartoon reviewers are gonna go after this because this is a Nick Jr. series, and I think, like, them ranting about a Baby Shark show might end up doing more damage to them more so than they want to do damage for the series. But I will say, for me, I'm not bothered by the Baby Shark series. I'm not bothered by this Baby Shark show. In fact, I highly do encourage it. I'm glad that they are actually doing something like this. So from there, I really do wish the people and the team behind this show, I wish them the best of luck. I wish Pink Fong the best of luck to continue to expand the popularity of Baby Shark, because they certainly have a gold mine. And I know that there are some people that are probably wondering, am I going to be, so with all of my comments about this Baby Shark series, am I going to be watching this? Hell freaking no, are you kidding me? It is still a preschool series. Like, I'm way too old for this. I'm an adult. Unless if I have a child of my own that completely digs Baby Shark and wants to see this show, then there is no reason for me to watch this series on my own spare time all alone. That would honestly be a little bit too weird. It's kind of the same thing as when people ask me, yo, Animat, are you gonna check out The Lion Guard? Oh, you gotta check out The Lion Guard. Thanks, but no thanks. I'm sure the show is good, but it's just that it is a preschool series. There is such a thing as being too old for watching shows that are geared towards toddlers. I mean, yeah, sure, animation is for everyone, but when it's a preschool show, I think they set an age limit, or like a max age limit of when it's okay for you to go and check out a show like that. So, yeah, don't expect me to go and watch Baby Shark on my own free will. So, from there, like, I'll just leave it as it is, and I'll just wish it the best of luck. Okay, so with that said, though, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you guys, what do you all think about this Baby Shark series? Do you think this is interesting? Do you think the kids are gonna love it? Are you just completely against it no matter what? Let me know what you all think. Let's see now. Well, the Annoying Orange and Fred did get their own show on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, respectively, and they were both critically panned. I'm anticipating this to be pretty much the same thing, though it may avoid the hate since it's aimed for preschoolers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know this seems like an easy target to go and hate, and I do understand the internet's perspective on how this does seem to be like a major target for cartoon reviewers to go and bash and attack and treat it like the next Teen Titans Go or the next SpongeBob past season 4 and stuff like that. I completely understand all that. But it is a preschool series, and from there, it does get a pass in order to avoid some of, like, the critical panning and the hate behind it. Like, with the Annoying Orange and Fred, that's aimed for, like, for kids, per se. For kids that are, like, 7 and older, but Baby Shark is aiming for a group that's, like, way under that. So from there, like, it can get a pass from getting a harmless series, regardless of what the quality is going to be. Okay, let's see now. I'm not gonna watch this because I'm freaking 17, exactly. But it just goes to show that anything can become a TV show now. What's next? A TV show based on that one dude on Vine that says, watermelon, it's out of watermelon! Oh my god, yeah, actually, yes. Oh my god, I love Chaz Smith. Please get him on a TV show. I would actually be down for a Chad Smith TV show. Anyways, a show based on Don Lino, an entire TV series starring a stick of butter. Hell, a show starring Ryan's toy reviews wouldn't be too far off. Oh wait, that's actually a thing. Also on Nickelodeon, and it even got a $40 video game. Wait, what were we talking about? Yeah, exactly. It sounds like the more you're talking about, the more that you're proving the point of the existence of Baby Shark, and the more that you're also proving that Baby Shark is not the worst thing that would be released out there. I mean, the fact that we did get Ryan's toy reviews as a TV show, the fact that we did get The Annoying Orange or frickin' Fred, the fact that we already got all those, Baby Shark doesn't sound all that bad now, does it? Let's see now. I'm not surprised this would be a show. It was a very popular song online, and some corporate hacks want to cash in on the show. Nickelodeon did before with Ryan's World and made a series based on the videos. We're also seeing it with late night television with Lily Singh. I feel like Phantom Strider said it best, speaking in Australian accent. Why don't networks always pitch crap from YouTube? Why do networks always pitch crap from YouTube? There are tons of web series that deserve a show than this. Robot Chicken should make fun of the show. Okay, then. Let's see now. What else we got? As long that it goes straight to Nick Jr., then that's fine by me because I can't stand the song, and it's very annoying whenever I hear it close to me. I do get who the target audience is, so I shouldn't complain. Best of luck to them, and that wants to show this to little kids. Oh, and by the way, there is one thing that I almost forgot to ask, and that is regarding the voice in here. Now, I've already made like a little bit of a parody. I already made a little bit of fun, like while the trailer was on. But there is something that I do want to know, and just take a good listen. I just want to know, honestly.
Well, I made it! I have my very own TV show!
Is that Tara Strong? Like, is the voice of Baby Shark by Tara Strong? Because honestly, I keep hearing this, and all I could hear is just Tara Strong's voice. Like, I don't know, maybe that's not the case. I didn't hear any announcements regarding who would actually be the voice of Baby Shark, or what is the cast of Baby Shark, but I can't help but feel like all I hear is Timmy Turner in that voice. Like, that's what I want to know. It's like, is this Tara Strong, or maybe this is another voice actress? I don't know. I just feel like there's just... I'm not, this is not pointing out that this is a bad thing, but I just hear this, and I was like, Tara, is that you? Are you the new voice of Baby Shark? I don't know. Anyways, I'll go and read one more before we jump into the next one. Let's see now. Someone I have yet got. Okay, there we go. Even though I hated the Baby Shark song, I understand why it's popular to little kids. But having the series on Nick Jr. is an awful idea. It's just my opinion, but Nickelodeon is making dumb decisions like bringing stuff from the internet, even if it's from Nick Jr. Also, this isn't the first time that Nickelodeon tried to put a popular internet thing on TV, case in point, The Fred Show and Ryan's Toy Review Show. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed at them right now. Well, I mean, like, whoa, what can you expect? It's Nickelodeon do what Nickelodeon does. Okay, so now that we can go and put Baby Shark on the side, it's now time that we are going to go and jump onto our next story. And with our next story, I'll just say that I cannot believe that in the same year, this happened again. That it happened again. That in a previous episode, I did a little bit of a report on what was going on with Disney Plus, and now it turns out that I am completely wrong about it. That there was a previous news source that talked about a rumor that's circulating around. I stated that it was false, and I called the reporters liars on it. And now, once again, I was proven completely wrong on that. And to those people now, like, it happened before with the news about Warner Brothers, Warner Animation Group wanting to make a Funko Pop movie. But now this thing is happening once again. So I just want to start things off by saying that to the publishers and to the article writers who have first made this report, who have first spoke about this rumor, I sincerely apologize for the harsh statements that I've made you before. I apologize for accusing you of being liars, and I was completely wrong, and now I've realized once again that I've made a complete fool out of myself for stating that, because you guys were right all along. I have no idea how you guys got this source in the first place months before it was revealed, but apparently it seems to be a thing. Yes, with that said, guys, let's go and talk about Disney Plus. Now, and keep in mind, I'm using my source here from CNBC, and you cannot go any more legit than CNBC. That's like one of the top official news sources, so it's hard to really argue against this. But apparently CNBC made a report about some of the things that are not going to be involved in Disney Plus, because there are going to be some things that won't be in there for business decisions. Others is because of some controversial elements. And I think the first thing that we have to go and talk about, yes, it is true, Song of the South is not going to be on Disney Plus. Now, reporting that Song of the South is not going to be on Disney Plus is the equivalent of reporting that the sky is blue. Alright? That's a common fact. We know it ain't going to happen. We know that Song of the South is not going to be there. I don't think anybody is going to be troubled by that. I think we've all anticipated that since the very beginning. But there are also plenty of other movies that are not going to be there as well. First and foremost, there are actually some businesses that Disney has to handle first before bringing some movies onto their streaming service. Like, a good example, believe it or not, many of their feature films that have been released between 2017 and 2018 are not going to immediately be on Disney+. So I'm talking about movies like Coco, Ralph Breaks the Internet, what else would there be? Incredibles 2, the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast, Christopher Robin, and all those films. Unfortunately, they're not going to be on Disney+, mainly because Disney has a deal with other streaming services like Netflix and Hulu so that they could stay there for a while. And I'm sure that once the contract ends on that, then they're going to bring those movies onto Disney+. So those films are not going to be on Disney Plus because Disney has a contract with companies like Netflix and Hulu, and it even stated here that even HBO as well. So we're not going to be seeing those. That's understandable. That's fine. As long as it is in a streaming service. So we know, regardless if it's going to be Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever, we know that there is a place where you can go and check out something like Coco. And then there are also, of course, the Spider-Man movies. They are not going to be on Disney Plus, obviously, because of the deal with Sony Pictures. So we're not going to. So unfortunately, if you want to go and have like a complete run-through of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, unfortunately, you cannot do so with just Disney Plus because they're not going to have the Spider-Man movies like Homecoming and Far From Home. And then they also went on to explain that some of the newer movies, unfortunately, they are not going to immediately be released on Disney+. It even stated here that movies like The Lion King, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and Aladdin, or the live-action remakes of those films, they are not going to immediately be on Disney+, because they are a little bit too new, and they want to wait a little bit until, like, it's like fully settled itself onto home media before they could go and officially release it on Disney Plus, which does make sense. Make sure it has a good run in theaters first, then also stay a little bit on home media, and then put it out on the streaming service. That does make sense. That's perfectly understandable, and that's perfectly fine. I think that's going to be a bit of the new norm that we would have to expect. You know, it's like when the new movies, we have to wait a little bit before they put it out on Netflix. So that's completely understandable. That we're pretty much used to it. And then it would go into detail regarding some of the elements, some movie elements that are not going to be in there. Like the movies themselves, they'll still be on Disney Plus, but not in their complete entirety. They would go on and explain a little bit that the one of the post-credit bloopers of Toy Story 2, the one where Stinky Pete tries to persuade two Barbie dolls in order to go and make a little deal that maybe in exchange for something, they'll put the Barbie dolls onto Toy Story 3 or something like that. Like, they have that little blooper. That is going to be removed from the Disney Plus version of Toy Story 2 because for obvious reasons, mainly because of because we are in the environment of the #MeToo movement, and especially when that little blooper did not age well. But then there is the one that I thought Disney would not stoop this low in order to take it out. But according to this report, it looks like they are. They are going to be removing the crow scene from Dumbo. The only thing that it states here is just the fact that it only written down in my source on CNBC that the Jim Crow character from the original Dumbo will be edited out of the film version that appears on the streaming service. And that's it. So basically, the fact that the Jim Crow character, he pretty much encompasses that whole scene. So they're pretty much getting rid of the entire crow scene and probably do some editing as well on the ending as well, since they did appear in the finale, like when you hear that little bit of when I see an elephant fly. You know, that little bit right there. So apparently it is confirmed that they are getting rid of it. Now, it did state that that Disney is going to be taking out a few scenes from their own respective movie, but the only one that this article has listed is just the Toy Story 2 blooper and also the Jim Crow scene from Dumbo. That's it. And from there, we also got a little bit of a quote coming from Sean Robbins, the chief analyst at boxoffice.com, that he stated, it shows Disney is taking the subject very seriously, said of Disney's decision of keeping Song of the South off of its platform and alter several of its movies. And oh my god, the fact, like, going outside of the fact that I was wrong when I first heard about this news, that I thought they wouldn't be dumb to go and do that, but now it does seem like they are. Honestly, I am upset. Like, this thing makes me legitimately upset that they would legit go as far and completely alter and remove the scene from Dumbo. Like, they haven't done it before with their previous Blu-ray releases. Like, I got my Blu-ray, which soon is going to be like 10 years old, though. It's like the 70th anniversary of Dumbo, and I think there was another Blu-ray release of the Dumbo movie. But like this one, it still has the crow scene from Dumbo. Like, it still has that. But really? You're gonna be fully serious of removing the crow scene from Dumbo, even though it plays a very essential role of making us learn how the crow, how Dumbo flies. Like, it's one of the most important scenes to understand how Dumbo can fly in the first place. Like, you're just gonna take it out. Now, I understand that when it comes to the subject of the crow scene from Dumbo, it really is a bit of a gray area, and it is very controversial because there are a lot of arguments that are very strong in terms of why it is racist and why it is not racist. But for Disney to go as far and to completely sanitize the original movie by completely removing the crow scene from Dumbo, this is honestly something that is causing, that would go and cause a lot more harm. Like, I have no problem with them doing that for something like, one of their, what would it be? Like for their live action remake of Dumbo. Yeah, okay. I do understand not including the crows for the live action remake of Dumbo. That I can understand. You want to do like a reimagining of the movie, you can alter it however you want. But going as far as tampering as the original, that is harmful. That is honestly dangerous. And it really does put out a bad message of the way that you would go and handle racism. I understand that Disney wants to go and portray itself as a very progressive company that is completely against things like racism. But this kind of approach is completely the wrong way of doing so. And on top of that, one thing that also makes me very upset is that not only is it more harmful than it would do good, but also from the looks of things, it seems very hypocritical of Disney to go and do so. Why hypocritical? Because the thing is, yeah, Disney pays careful attention to make sure that they don't seem racist towards black people, but you do realize that in Disney's past, they have been racist towards other ethnicities as well. There are plenty of other ethnic stereotypes that have been portrayed in classic Disney films other than African Americans as well. A great example of this, and this is something that you already see here, like one of the pictures of this CNBC article, is Cyan from Lady and the Tramp. There have been some Asian stereotypes in Disney movies before, especially with Cyan, with the way that they are portrayed as like the old stereotype of Asians being like sneaky little devils. You know, it was back in the day when America's trust with Asians, or more specifically with the Japanese, was very sour due to the events of like Pearl Harbor and World War II and stuff like that. Or especially like the fact that we would also get plenty of other wars related to Asia, like the Vietnam War and all that kind of stuff. Like, this was back in the day when America's relationship with the Asians are not very strong. But nowadays, now that things are all cool with Asians and Americans and all that kind of stuff, these kinds of portrayals are not okay whatsoever. And the thing is that, again, this article seems to indicate that the only two changes that they are doing in terms of, like, altering some of their older movies is just Dumbo and Toy Story 2. And that's pretty much it. Like, with Cyan, the only thing that this article mentions is just the fact that they're switching things up in the live-action remake. It only says, additionally, the live-action Lady and the Tramp coming to Disney Plus will reinvent the Siamese cat song with the help of singer-songwriter Janelle Monáe. Okay, yeah, sure, they're just doing that for the live-action remake. But are they going to do anything to the original? Like, are they going to go and also remove the Siamese cat song from the original Lady and the Tramp? Because, again, it would seem massively hypocritical if they would remove the crow scene, but not the Siamese cat song in this. Like, why not? I mean, both the Siamese cats and the crows, they're very important characters to their respective movie, but if you're going to completely sanitize one but not the other, it brings out a massive hypocrisy and a bad message. And this is not the only movie where they portray Asian stereotypes. There's also another one where they really went far with it. Like, they went full on shameless. You know what I'm talking about. In the Aristocats, during that one little section in the song Everybody Wants to Be a Cat, where I think, again, it's another Siamese cat, like, just pops out of nowhere, like, Shanghai Hong Kong ain't for young, fortune cookie always wrong, that's a hot one. Like, what, really, dude? Like, come on. Like, that is shameless. That's just full on freaking shameless. There's no other way to describe it other than shamelessly racist. And again, no mention that they would do anything on that. So is Disney saying that they're okay with Asian stereotypes like Cyan and that little bit from the Aristocats, but they're not cool with the crows from Dumbo? Oh, but then, here's the one thing that can massively prove Disney's hypocrisy. Here is the one perfect example, and maybe this is just my opinion, but for me, I feel like this is probably the most racist thing that Disney has ever done. Okay, now you have trouble with the crow scene, but what about the natives from Peter Pan? Or you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, they're not called natives, but in the movie, the Indians. Oh man, now that is something where, imagine if you take that little Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Fuyang bit in the Aristocats, and you expand that 10 times. That's how bad it was in Peter Pan. Like, watching that right now, it is embarrassing. Even after just a few years after the release of Peter Pan, like, it was already embarrassing for the animators. Like, there have been some that even stated that looking back at it, like, they feel embarrassed that, and they are aware that if they would redo Peter Pan, they wouldn't portray the natives the same way that they did in the movie. That is exactly why you don't even see the Indians at all in Return to Neverland. Like, they decided to opt them out completely. Like, just completely take them out, pretend that they just did not exist, period. So that's the thing, and I really want to know. That does make me curious about the other animated films that have presented ethnic stereotypes. Like, if you're going to go as far and completely sanitize the original Dumbo movie by completely removing the crows, are you going to go as far as keep the other ethnic stereotypes like Cyan, like the little bit in the Aristocats, like the Indians from Peter Pan? Are you going to go do that? If not, and you're just going to do that to Dumbo, then you're sending out a wrong message. You're sending out a really bad message, and you're being very hypocritical that you're not okay with the racism of black people, but the racism towards Asians and Native Americans, you seem to be completely cool with it and still would like to proudly display it on your old animated features. That is shameful. And on top of that, the action of actually going as far as sanitizing the crow scene from Dumbo, it, like, honestly, as I stated before, it would go and cause more harm than to actually go and do good. Because you're not trying to portray, because that's not progressive if you're going to go and completely opt them out from the movie entirely. Because what you are doing is reinventing history. You are taking history away from how it is from Dumbo. Or like you're completely removing a certain element from history in order to make yourself look progressive today. Like, you're completely reinventing it to say, like, oh, we've always been progressive since the very beginning, when that is not the case. It does not properly reflect upon the world viewpoint of its time. And especially the fact that you are you're reinventing history and you're ignoring the racism of the past. By doing that, that is equally as bad as being racist right now. Reinventing history to say that you've never been racist in the past is equally as bad as wearing blackface today. You are doing more harm than you are actually doing good, and you're really sending out a terrible message. And again, here's another big thing. Like, that's not the only racist part in the Dumbo movie, or at least questionably racist. What about the songs of the roundabouts? Like, what about that song? Because a lot of people have accused that song as well of being racist, where you would get like a lyric, something like, "Get back to work, you hairy ape." When you got like a bunch of like darker skinned people working in order to build up the tent. And they could imply that the hairy apes are the darker skinned people. Like, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to keep that scene, but you're going to remove the crows from Dumbo? Again, like, why? Why would you do that? Because honestly, the thing is, what you have to do, like, if you really want to address the issue, and you want to do so in a really ethical way, then honestly, the problem with it is just the fact that I kind of lost my train of thought on that. I'm sorry. It's just, this thing really did get me riled up. I mean, my God, like, I can't believe that this is something that they could actually go and do. But the thing is that whenever the subject would be brought up, a lot of people would go as far and say that Disney should have done what Warner Brothers has done with their Looney Tunes cartoons. Now, for those of you who don't know, when Warner Brothers released some of the Looney Tunes cartoons on DVD, they would put out a statement, a lot of them before the Speedy Gonzales cartoons, back when people would often think that that Speedy Gonzales would be like a Mexican stereotype. So from there, what Warner Brothers would do is that they wouldn't touch the cartoons at all. They would still release them on DVD and stuff like that, and they would put out this message in which it states, "The cartoons you are about to see are products of their time. They may depict some of the ethnic and racial prejudices that were commonplace in American society. These depictions were wrong then and are wrong today. While the following does not represent the Warner Brothers view of today's society, these cartoons are being presented as they were originally created because to do so otherwise would be the same as claiming these prejudices never existed." And that's exactly what Disney is doing. They are claiming that the racial prejudices of back then never existed. That's what I mean by Disney reinventing history. And you know the most idiotic thing about Disney doing that? You know what's really stupid about it? Is the fact that Disney would go and do, like, they would go and do that, but doing what Warner Brothers has done, it's not just more ethical, it's a lot more cheaper. Disney is wasting so much money in order to remove the crows, in order to pretend like they don't exist, in order to opt them out from their movie, and yet they would have saved a whole lot more if they would start the film out with just putting out this message. Just by putting out this kind of message, you saved yourself tons of money, and you're pretty much you still portray yourself as morally strong. And that's it. You don't have to go that extra mile to reinvent history, to pretend that prejudices have never existed, to have like this conservative mentality that, oh, racism doesn't exist anymore. The only racism right now is just racism towards white people. That kind of idiotic mentality. Why not just say this, Disney? But then again, I would like to emphasize, as I am recording this, it is only a few days before the official release of Disney Plus, and you never know. Maybe I'm still wrong. Maybe this is still not true, and maybe what CNBC portrayed is not necessarily that truthful, at least in terms of the aspect of the crow scene from Dumbo. Maybe that could be the case. But for now, it does seem to be pretty official. And if that actually is the case, like if we would go on Disney Plus and see on Dumbo that they completely removed it, then honestly, like I'd be upset. Like this is shameful. Really, this is something that Disney needs to reevaluate how they approach racism. Like, I know they want to do good, and I know that they want to help out in combating racism and prejudices like that, but this is not the frickin' way to go. And so, with that said, now that I've had my whole piece on it, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask, what do you all think about this change? What do you all think about Disney what seems to be most likely Disney not including the crows from Dumbo? Like, what do you all think about this whole situation? Do you think Disney should put them back in? Do you think Disney might face some serious backlash on that? Do you think what they're doing is good? Do you think what they're doing is bad? Let me know what you all think. Now, let's see here. As a black person, I feel that Disney is doing a really bad decision. Removing the crows would ruin the narrative of Dumbo. Absolutely. And the last time I talked about this, I explained in full why the crows are so essential to the Dumbo movie, because they're the reason why Dumbo can fly. They are the setup to the grand finale. Alright, let's see now. I don't hate Disney. In fact, I love the company. But the fact that they did not include the crow scene in Dumbo really pisses me off. How am I going to learn how Dumbo got his magic feather to fly? Thank freaking God I own the DVD of the film. It's the big top edition release from 2016, but the removal of the crow scene is not going to stop me from getting Disney Plus in the future. And that is true. This comment does bring up a very good point. Now, as upsetting as this news is, it is true that this is not, like, just because they removed one scene from one movie, it's not going to be enough to stop people from actually getting Disney Plus. It's not going to stop them from becoming like a massive hit in terms of being a streaming service. It's just that it's just the unethical aspect. It's morally wrong. We're talking about the element of morality. It's just unethically wrong. And the way that Disney is approaching it, it's like, yeah, they might have good intentions, but it's just that the way that they're approaching it is completely wrong, and how they're doing it is completely backwards, where it's equally as bad as being racist. Okay, let's see now. Sounds worse than when Make My Music and Melody Time had to edit out some parts. In Make My Music, they had to edit out the Martins and the Coys from the Gold Collection release. I had to find the segment over the internet to watch it. In Melody Time, they edited out parts of Peso's Bill segment where the character is smoking for the Masterpiece Collection. I have the Gold Collection DVD release and hope one day they can reissue the film in its original run. Yeah, I think that's just gonna be like a, like if they ever would re-release it like for Blu-ray or for DVD or something like that, then it's for sure they're just gonna do it for the Disney movie collection or something like that. I'm not 100% sure if they are going to be also releasing it on Disney Plus, like on its release, but I don't know. I feel like we'll have to wait and see in terms of like if they are going to alter it. But then again, from the sounds of it, I don't think they're going to be removing, they're not going to bring back the smoking scene from Peso's Bill, or if they would bring back Make My Music, I don't know if they're going to bring back the Martins and the Coys. Maybe they would, I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see. Okay. Yeah, I expect that Disney is going to get a lot of hate for doing this. Warner Brothers is so much better at addressing the racism. Not only are they entirely willing to release the Center 11 cartoons, but they gave out that disclaimer saying that while the racial stereotypes were okay in the past, they also said that it is still wrong to not reflect our current times. To remove and edit it all out would just ignore the issue from the past. Exactly. And I don't know if they have officially released the censored 11 on DVD or anything like that. I've heard talks plenty of times in the past that they might consider putting it out on DVD or something, but I don't think they have ever done so. I mean, it would be very risky, of course, and there would be an immediate backlash if that would ever happen, but I don't know if they ever did. I got the Platinum Blu-rays, and I know for a fact that they don't have any of those cartoons on those ones. But I don't know if they ever did release it on DVD. That's a good question. Thank you, Matt. Once again, I feel like the need of bringing up the prejudice disclaimer by Warner Brothers on their DVDs. Whoopi Goldberg wants Disney to re-release Song of the South for those exact reasons. Even Drawn Together kind of made a point saying forgetting Song of the South is kind of like forgetting the Holocaust. Exactly. I mean, like, honestly, I feel like at the point where I think for now, it really does sound like it's not like we're not going to be getting it under Bob Iger. For now, like, we'll have, like, in terms of the racism issue that has to be addressed, like, we know for a fact that at this point, Bob Iger is going to do jack all about it. Like, I know he's had discussions in the past regarding what they're going to do with Song of the South and stuff like that, and he decided, hell no. So I think, honestly, it's really going to depend on the next CEO to determine what they want to do with Song of the South, or what they want to do to present the elements of racism. Would they actually want to go and present Song of the South and put it out on home media and stuff like that? Or do they still want to continue the tradition of ignoring it and treat characters like Brer Bear, Brer Fox, and Brer Rabbit as theme park characters coming from Splash Mountain? Treat Brer Rabbit no different like Figment from Journey into Imagination or the Dog with Keys from Pirates of the Caribbean. I think, honestly, the future of how Disney addresses the racism is going to change and hopefully could improve with the next CEO, because I don't trust Bob Iger so far on doing that. Let's see now. I'm going to go and read one more before we're going to go and jump onto our next story. Let's see. Oh, I don't think I've read from you yet. As much as I give my attention to Disney Plus, this really upsets me as much as you do. Like, not only do the crows really have an importance to the film, I personally think they are my favorite characters, along with the song. It's extremely catchy, and to say, like, Friend Like Me, why not really get rid of other moments like smoking, drinking, or anything else that gets controversy, like The Three Caballeros, or The Great Mouse Detective, or all the other films, just to take other people off. At least Warner Brothers gets it. Exactly, man. It's just, like, again, I'll just say, maybe we're all wrong on this. Maybe the Crows are still going to be on Disney Plus. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, it doesn't look like it's not doing Disney any favors by doing that. Okay, now that I have blown off a little bit of steam from that, as much as I would like to say that we can cheer things up with our next story, I don't think it's going to be doing us any favors as well, because when it comes to our next story, we're going to be talking about a recent animated feature that came out not too long ago, and that I have just recently reviewed, Arctic Dogs. And for those of you who have yet to see my review, and for those of you who don't know Arctic Dogs, I'll just say right now, it's a movie that just came out of nowhere, and I absolutely hate it. It is so bad. Like, not only is this immediately one of the worst movies of the year, and, spoiler alert, easily the worst animated film of the year, but also, it just immediately got a top spot as one of the worst animated features of the decade. I kid you not. It really was that bad. And honestly, as I stated in my review, like, when it comes to that film, I don't know what made me more upset. The fact that the movie is absolutely terrible, or the fact that it took time away from me from making more parts of Animation Look Back Disney Plus just so I could go and give attention to Arctic Dogs so that I can go and spend days to go and create an entire review explaining how bad the movie is. It's just, there's all these factors that came, I don't know what made me more upset. However, with that said, it seems that now Arctic Dogs is getting the justice that it deserves. Because not only is it one of the worst animated movies of the decade, it is also one of the worst openings of all time. Yes, apparently, Arctic Dogs not only did it easily get the worst opening of the year, but some would even go as far and state that it's one of the worst openings ever for a movie, or at least for a wide release movie, because you gotta keep in mind that when it comes to Arctic Dogs, it did get a bit of a wide release in over 2,800 theaters, and that's a lot. That's like, you know, it's not as big as like some major motion pictures, because like some of the big budget movies or some of the big event movies, they would be, you know, they would get around 4,000 screenings. You know, they would get 4,000 theaters. But with Arctic Dogs, it's still got a decent amount with 2,800. It's still significantly less than most others, but still, a movie getting 2,800 theaters, that's actually quite impressive. But when it comes to Arctic Dogs, despite all the theaters that it has, it only managed to accumulate a total of $3.1 million on its opening weekend. But I will say this, though. That is just in terms of the estimates. This article was actually done on Sunday. This was based on like weekend estimates on how much it might have made. We actually did get the weekend actuals of how much it made last week. And I kid you not, Arctic Dogs opening weekend is actually $2.9 million. It failed to even get $3 million on its opening weekend. That pretty much means that for every day, it can't even get, on average, $1 million. That's how bad it has been. And already people are proclaiming it as a massive box office bomb since the film has reportedly gotten a $50 million budget. And that's pretty much all there is to really go and explain regarding this situation with Arctic Dogs. And holy crap, honestly, for me, I am not absolutely surprised, because there is only one reason why this movie became a massive box office bomb. And no, I'm not gonna go and say that it's because, oh, the movie is so terrible that nobody went to see it. That's not really the case. You could still be an absolutely garbage animated feature, and you could still get a lot of people to go and actually see it. Case in point, look at what happened with the Emoji Movie. But it's not really because of it's not because of how it's a terrible movie. It's not because of like massive competition at the box office. It's not because this movie got completely overshadowed by Joker. It's not because of any of that. It's mainly because of the fact of the marketing is non-existent. I don't know about you, but there is barely much marketing that ever appeared for Arctic Dogs. Maybe a little bit in terms of like digital marketing. I've had reports from people saying that sometimes they would see trailers for Arctic Dogs through YouTube ads and stuff like that. That could be the case, but outside of that, have you ever seen banners of Arctic Dogs? Have you ever seen posters in random places of Arctic Dogs? Have you ever seen merchandise? Have you ever seen merchandise of Arctic Dogs? Does merchandise of Arctic Dogs ever exist? That should be a good question. I have no clue, because honestly, at least in my area, I have never seen a single piece of advertising of Arctic Dogs, period. And keep in mind, I am in a major city. I'm in Montreal, Canada, and usually when there's like a big movie that's coming out, it would be highly prominent. They would be highly presented everywhere. But in the case of Arctic Dogs, nothing, none, no advertising, just full on, period. As I've stated in my review, the only times I've ever heard about Arctic Dogs is just when they would go and release a trailer, and that's pretty much it. So, of course, the fact that there's no exposure to it, even with the fact that there are some big name celebrities attached to it, the fact that they got Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, they got a freaking Avenger that's the star of this movie, they got Alec Baldwin, a major A-list celebrity, James Franco, Angelica Houston, John Cleese, Heidi Klum, they got all these big names, and yet they fail to go and promote this to people. Like, they got the marketing materials in order to present this film, and yet they used jack all of it. They barely used much to present Arctic Dogs. It's just astounding. Like, did they even hire a marketing team for this? I have no clue, but it's from there that I feel like it is not much of a surprise of the fact that this barely got much attention and this barely made any money at the box office. But then there is also something else that I would really like to discuss in terms of Arctic Dogs. And this is something that has never made sense for me. Like, ever since I saw this movie, there's something that I cannot understand. I cannot get. How the fridge is this movie, the Arctic Dogs? How is this a $50 million feature? How does Arctic Dogs, out of all things, have a budget of $50 million? That is impossible. Like, unless the actors are really that expensive to go and get, unless, like, a huge chunk of the budget is to get actors like James Franco, Jeremy Renner, Alec Baldwin, and John Cleese, to get all these actors, maybe I was right in my review when I said that most of the budget went on to the actors and the actual animation. There's just no way. So I tried to do my research. I tried to look up, where did everybody get this information about this movie having a budget of $50 million? There's just no way. So I tried to look it up, and the only thing that I could find is this one source. It's only this one source that is responsible of all this, and that is actually this article from Deadline coming from February 10th, 2016. So this is a nearly 4-year-old article that is the source of why people say that this movie has a budget of $50 million. Specifically, regarding this section right here. And by the way, before I read it, I just want to add that even in this article, they even mention the fact that Arctic Dogs would be a thing coming in the future, where they called it here Arctic Justice Thunder Squad, which apparently Jeremy Renner was yet to be included, but they did get people like Alec Baldwin, John Cleese, James Franco, Angelica Houston, and Heidi Klum, and also Omar Sy as well. And then stated that coming soon they would have another movie coming up called Groove Tales, starring Jamie Foxx. Yes, the same Jamie Foxx that was in Soul. Apparently, oops, sorry about that. That'll be a little bit later. But anyways, going back to this, it's just that it makes no sense how it has a $50 million budget. But anyways, going back to this, it states here, it states here in terms of where the budget came from. It says Ambi and Barajun have committed to making 5 feature films with individual budgets in the $50 million range over the next 5 years. The films will be fully financed by Ambi and Barajun. The animation and production works will be co-developed and produced between Barajun's cutting-edge Dubai studios and Ambi's AIC studios in Toronto, Canada. So far, that seems to be the only thing that confirms to us that this might have a $50 million budget. But I don't think so. There's no way this has a budget of $50 million. This needs to be updated. We need to get more info on what the budget actually is, because looking at what I've just witnessed, this has a budget, I would say maximum $20 million, or even 25 even. Like, that's the top that I could go. I cannot accept the fact that Arctic Dogs has a budget that's higher than $25 million, especially with the animation itself. Now, a lot of people have pointed to me that in terms of Arctic Dogs, the animation was actually produced by Assemblage Entertainment, which is actually the same company that did do the animation of Norm of the North. And I'm not saying that Arctic Dogs has animation that's as bad as Norm in the North, because honestly, with Norm in the North, it's unwatchable. Like this and the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs films are the only movies so far that I had to take off my glasses in order to watch the film to make sure that the whole screen is just completely blurry so that my brain cannot process what's actually going on and not physically hurt my eyes. It's not as bad as that. Like, it's terrible, but it's not that bad. But still, Norm of the North is a movie that has a budget of $18 million. And with Arctic Dogs, somehow, that has a budget of $50 million, despite the fact that it was made from the same studio, which, by the way, it's an offshore animation studio. It's an offshore animation studio that's made, I think, in India or something, which means that the budget is able to be a lot less than it actually can be. So from there, I really want to know, and I need someone to, to step up and to tell us right now, what is the real budget of Arctic Dogs? Because I'm not going to buy the fact that it is a $50 million movie, because that only means one of two things. It is either A, that this is a complete lie, that this is not true, and this is misinformation that it is spread around. Or B, this means that the director and the producers are so terrible at their jobs that they have the ability of turning $50 million into what looks like a $5 million movie. Like, they're really that bad at their jobs. It's one of the two. But still, man, overall, I just feel like I am not surprised that this whole thing is a failure, but I will not accept the fact that this is a $50 million movie. There is just no frickin' way. And I just need to spread that out so that we can get to the bottom of this. What is the real budget of Arctic Dogs? Because this ain't a $50 million movie. And also, by the way, there is also another thing that I want to mention in order to emphasize what I'm talking about with how this is not a $50 million movie. And I'm going to bring you up two examples. Take a look at Ugly Dolls and The Addams Family, two animated films released this year that have a budget that is less than Arctic Dogs. Ugly Dolls has $45 million and Addams Family had $40 million. Now, say what you will about these movies. I do agree, they suck. But, at least in terms of the animation, it's not that bad. It's not Pixar or Disney quality, but it does look good on its own. It does look professional. It does look high quality. And with the budget that they had, they still managed to release a strong-looking feature film with some pretty impressive visuals. This, however, with Arctic Dogs, $50 million, and it looks like garbage. Are you freaking kidding me? This barely even passes as direct-to-video quality, and yet you have the nerve to tell me this is a $50 million feature? Why? And honestly, that's all the things that I want to address. That's all the things that I want to go and talk about in terms of the budget of Arctic Dogs. So once again, I'm not surprised that because of the lack of marketing, that it does end up having the worst opening weekend of all time. But we really got to get to the bottom of this to know what the real budget is, because this certainly isn't $50 million. Okay, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you guys, what do you all think about the result of Arctic Dogs? Do you believe that this movie is actually $50 million? And do you believe that it deserves to have one of the worst openings of all times? Let me know what you all think of this. Let's see. Are you kidding me? Sorry, Matt, But what the fridge? There must have been empty seats. My hunch is that there was no faith in this movie from the studio. This makes no sense. That could also be the case. That could also be the case that the distributor a lot of the marketing has to be in charge by the distributor as well, which I think in this case is Entertainment Studios Motion Pictures. That could also be a possibility that the lack of marketing is due to the fact that the distributors just had no faith in it whatsoever, or they did not have the budget to go and market this whatsoever. So that could be a major case that they just did not care, because it does actually happen when a studio just had no faith on their feature films. So what happens is that they're just gonna pretend like it doesn't exist. It's a little bit like how Disney tried to pretend that Strange Magic didn't exist. Like when they purchased Lucasfilms, they realized that they also have to be responsible for Strange Magic. So they did everything they can to give it the minimum amount of marketing as possible and to distance themselves from Strange Magic by giving it the Touchstone label. So I just want to put it out there. Let's see now. Oh, there we go. Glad I did not see Arctic Dogs in theaters. I agree that it's one of the worst animated films of all time, but not a little bit is it the absolute worst animated film to ever come out in theaters like Norman the North. As for your review, if you still wanted to, okay, well that's a side thing that we can go and discuss about. That's for another time. I just want to go and keep things in subject right here. No offense. All right. Anyways, I would be surprised of its budget, but remember, Food Fight had a similar budget, and we all knew the outcome of the film. Addams Family, Sausage Party, Captain Underpants, The Star, and Ratchet and Clank were cheaper than this, and they still look better. Thankfully, we are probably not going to experience Arctic Dogs as a franchise, unlike Norman the North, which has a 5th movie being made next year. Be afraid, be very afraid. Okay, in the case of Food Fight, I'm trying to remember, what did I state? I know a lot of people say it's like, it's a $60 million. Okay, no, it's not really that. I think it's like a $45 million movie or something like that. But Food Fight, that's a completely different story right there. That's a completely different case where it is massive mismanagement of the guy that was in charge of the studio that was also the director. That's just the case of the man in charge just had no idea what he was doing. That's a completely different story. Maybe we got a similar case here with Arctic Dogs, but I don't know. I don't think this is another Food Fight case over here. Let's see now. I would like to blame Entertainment Studios for releasing it into theaters. This movie should be released straight to video so you wouldn't have to see it in theaters. I barely saw some promotion whenever I came to my Regal theater, and I knew this movie doesn't have a chance to be successful and more, or more of a box office bomb. This movie got what it deserves by being a sucky animated film. I didn't see it, but I'm glad I didn't see it. Alright, so let's see. Wow, 2 controversial actors with top billing, unfinished animation, nearly merciless reviews, and becoming the biggest box office bomb, a bigger box office bomb than Mars Needs Moms. Never have I ever seen an animated feature have ever going against it so badly. A part of me knows I shouldn't even give it attention because it seems absolutely abysmal, but on the other hand, I am just so damn curious. But regarding the bombing, I just gotta ask, well, what do you expect from a distributor named Entertainment Studios? No. Not Entertainment Studios, it's Entertainment Studios Motion Pictures. The kind of name that you look at the distributor and you're like, what? Yeah, you do bring up a very good point. Oh boy. Let's see. I think we're pretty much all good with this one. Now we can go and move on from freaking Arctic Dogs, because the less attention I give this thing, the better. Okay. So, with that said, it is now time that we are going to go and jump onto the grand finale. And this is going to be a bonus miscellaneous because I gotta talk about this story as it is just an insane story to just go and discuss about, because I feel like what we got here is just something that's absolutely crazy, and it's something that's been happening in Walt Disney World. Now, you may have heard, like, if you've been following news about Walt Disney World, you may have heard about a missing audio animatronic from the old Epcot attraction Cranium Command, where someone legit just took an entire huge animatronic and just threw it out the window. It suddenly went missing. Nobody knew what happened to it, but we just realized it's gone. We don't know whatever happened to it, but luckily, we have actually got some answers, or at least partially, because now in terms of that animatronic, we now know where it actually is. And through a few exchanges and stuff like that, and a few misunderstandings, it actually ended up in the hands of an NBA player. Yes, believe it or not. Robin Lopez of the Milwaukee Bucks somehow ended up getting his hands on pieces of the Buzzy animatronic. So, what happened? Okay, well, the thing is, there's a lot of explaining to do, and there's a lot of context to go and talk about on this. So, let me sit down and let me tell you this fascinating little tale. Now, the thing is, with Robin Lopez, he is a huge Disney fan. As much as he loves shooting hoops, he loves going to Disney World. In fact, in my article here on Inside the Magic, it even states that he is actually a homeowner at Disney's Golden Oak, along with his twin brother, Brooke. So from there, he's a huge Disney fan, and of course, with all the money that he would make with the Milwaukee Bucks, he would go and purchase some Disney memorabilia. Like, he's a total Disney fan, so he would be more than happy to go and buy some major one-of-a-kind Disney memorabilia. And one of the stuff that he bought, or some of the things that he ended up buying, was actually not the entire thing, but just pieces of the animatronic of Buzzy. So, I have a picture here of the Buzzy animatronic, so that would just be, when I say pieces, I mean stuff like probably just his glasses, or his jacket, or maybe like some of the things that are on his gadgets, or maybe like his hat, or his headset, and stuff like that. Just those pieces. And from there, he decided to go and purchase them on eBay and try to make a whole deal on the situation. However, the thing is that it stated in here that Robin Lopez did not know that they were stolen. He didn't know that these things were items that apparently were taken illegally. He thought this was all an official thing from Disney. So, like this article and all the different articles talking about this, they made it clear that he is equally a victim because he did actually spend money on things that were actually stolen. But the question is, who would steal this? Who would steal the parts of the Buzzy animatronic? Well, that's the part where I'm gonna go and read you a little bit on my article here on Inside the Magic. So it states here, on one of the audio interviews that was released included information regarding Lopez's friend Brett Finley, a Disney collector and member of Club 33. Ooh, excuse me, just need to let out a little bit of gas before... again. Okay, got all the gas out of me, so let's go and continue. In an interview with Orange County Sheriff's investigators... oh my god. Can my body please let me continue this? Oh man, I'm malfunctioning. Help me. Okay. Okay. I think I'm good. I'm alive. I'm good. I can continue. In an interview with Orange County Sheriff's investigators, Finley states that Lopez corresponded with Patrick Spikes. And I'm going to go more into Patrick Spikes a little later. But Patrick Spikes is the culprit who had those stolen pieces. But going back into this, Lopez purchased Buzzy's clothes from Spikes via eBay, although it is unclear which specific items were purchased. Buzzy's bomber jacket, headphones, and hat, which were missing from Epcot, are reported at a value at $7,000. And for those of you who are curious, the whole Buzzy animatronic itself is stated to have valued at $400,000. Now, to go and continue, just to read a little bit more, is stated here that Lopez is considered a victim in this case since he was unaware that the items he purchased were stolen. According to the audio recordings, both Finley and Lopez spoke with Spike over the phone before purchasing the items. Lopez had asked if any of the items for sale were stolen, to which the former Disney employee replied, "No, it's not." And Brett Finley stated, it's really frustrating that you get scammed into these things. If it's not legit, we don't want it. Lopez, he's a high profile, like you said. I'm a CPA, I have a family. So that's the thing, is that because of this, they're just worried that they might get themselves into trouble because they've dealt with this guy. Now, with all that said though, who is this Patrick Spikes? Who is this guy that sold them the stolen pieces of the Buzzy animatronic? Well, again, if you have been following news from, if you have been following Disney World news, then you know very well who Patrick Spikes is. And I've heard a little bit about who this guy is, and I remember it was through Double Toasted, they talked a little, they had a little section where they talked about this guy, and oh my god, it's absolutely hilarious, but terrible at the same time. Now, the thing is, Patrick Spikes is actually a former Disney employee, but he decided to take advantage of the fact that he worked at Disney, where he and I believe it's his cousin, which is said here, Blayton Taunton, they would go around Disney World and they would go and have access to areas that are like behind the scenes of some major Disney attractions, and he would go and take pictures of them. In fact, he used to have a Twitter account called Backdoor Disney, where he would highlight some of his little trespassings of going into restricted areas at the Disney parks. And I don't know if he also has a YouTube channel as well, but I know that he does have a Twitter account. Now, just recently, believe it or not, I think it was a few weeks ago, Patrick Spikes actually got caught and he was arrested for one of these crimes that he tried to pull off, in which not only did he go and trespass, but he would also go and steal some of the things. Like, he would go in some popular attractions and he would actually steal like little props and little pieces from the popular rides. And what got him arrested is that he actually stole some wigs and even some dresses from the ballroom scene in the Haunted Mansion. Somehow he sneaked into restricted areas of the mansion and he managed to nab some of the wigs and managed to nab some of the dresses. And here's one of the pictures right now where you see Patrick Spikes happily wearing one of the blue wigs from the mansion. Oh, but it gets better. It actually does, because there's also a video out there where we see him confronting the police. Like, he would go and have an investigation where after he got caught, he talked with the police about what's been going on and his shenanigans and stuff like that. You'll see, he tried to act like a hotshot, but that ended up failing so quickly. You gotta see this video. Holy crap. Just check this out. I'm only going to show you like the first 20 minutes or something like that, but just look.
Yep.
About to walk out.
Okay.
And you guys want to talk and come back with my attorney. How about that?
Okay. Keep the car there. And we're keeping your phone. And actually,
No,
give me that.
Boom! Wow! Now that is a 180 mood swing right there, if I've ever seen one. Like, right at the beginning, the dude tried to act like a major hotshot. He's like, alright, yeah, you want to try to confront me? I ain't telling you nothing. You want to talk to me? You gotta talk to my attorney, man. You gotta come on. I ain't saying nothing to you, man. I have my rights. I don't need to tell you anything about what I've done at Disney. And then right afterwards, he's like, the police is just there. They're being calm. They're being professional. They're like, okay, all right. So we're going to keep this. We're going to keep some of these evidence. We're going to keep your phone as well. Right when he mentioned his phone, that's when he panicked. He's just like, no, mine. And from there, like, immediately the police is like, okay, nope, that's it. You're going down. Because he knew that every single piece of evidence, everything that would make him guilty is on that freaking phone. Watch it. Hold on. Like, watch this again. Well, no. Back this up, man. Back this up. You'll see how, look how quick. What? He's just, no, mine. He is desperate for the police to not have his phone because he knew that what's inside is gonna be over. And right afterwards, like, it states that this video is like 13 minutes long, but for the rest of it, it's literally him being completely tied up by the police. And afterwards, it's just him where his sanity is just completely going downhill and pretty much getting what he deserves. Like, he was hyperventilating, he was panicking and stuff like that, but like, that's pretty much what you get, man, when you try to act like a freaking hotshot, and then afterwards, you panicked at the last minute going, no, not my phone, anything but my phone, please. Yeah, you don't want to keep it just for texting purposes. You know that the things in there are absolutely guilty. And if I go, and speaking of which, considering that I have seen it through Double Toasted, like, the fact that I did see a lot from, like, the origins of where I've learned of Patrick Spikes is from Double Toasted. They did bring up a very good point of the fact that Patrick is lucky that it's the police that got him and it's not Disney. Because if Disney knew the stuff that he was doing, if he knew that he was stealing wigs and dresses from the Haunted Mansion, they would go and tell him that you have to keep in mind that these wigs and the dresses, they only belong to dead people. It doesn't matter if they're human or if they're animatronics. The point is, if you're gonna wear that wig or if you're gonna wear that dress, then that means you're dead. And looking at that picture, it doesn't look like you're dead and you're still wearing that wig. Oh, we could easily fix one of those issues. Oh, we can easily fix the dead problem right now. If you want to come back and work at Disney, oh, we got a special little job for you. You can go and clean up the attic. We'll take you to the mansion, put the things back, put the wigs and the dresses back, and you go and get to work and clean up in the attic. By the way, have fun having your last honeymoon. Bye-bye! He's lucky. He is lucky that it's the police that got him before Disney, because they will make sure that Patrick Spikes will not be a problem anymore. But yeah, honestly, but going back into the aspect of the Buzzy animatronic, the missing animatronic that's been gone from his original attraction, is it any surprise that it's this douche dick that stole some of the things of the Buzzy animatronic? I would not be surprised if this guy has the entirety of the Buzzy animatronic and is just selling them piece by piece. Because this guy is nothing more but scum. The fact that he was taking advantage of the fact that he worked at Disney, going into restricted areas, stealing actual props and costumes from the rides, and try to sell them off on eBay for his own profit, that is despicable, and that is full-on criminal as well. It doesn't matter if Disney is like a multi-billion-dollar company, that's still trespassing. That's still thievery. That's still something that no one should ever do. In fact, just to read a little bit more, I do believe they did write down the charges as well. Yes, it states right over here in Inside the Magic that At the time of this article's publication, Spike and his accomplice Blayton Taunton faced charges of dealing in stolen property, grand theft, and burglarizing a structure at the Magic Kingdom between July 2018 and January 8th, 2019. Spike also faces additional charges. He is charged with burglary of a building at Epcot, and this month, the Florida State Attorney Officer abandoned another charge against Spike of attempted tampering of evidence after his attorney filed a motion arguing that Spike has not received a speedy trial. This charge was related to Spike attempting to grab his phone during an interview with law enforcement. Oh boy. This thing, man. It's just, this guy is a mess. He really is. And it's not just for his own profit as well, but also for attention. Like the fact that a lot of people are right now pointing out that he's an idiot because of the fact that he posted on the internet his evidence. He was posting online happily that he was taking some of the things and that he was getting into restricted areas. Like this picture right over here with Patrick with the mansion wig. That he's all happy like, hey, yo, check it out, man. Check out my new hairdo. You like it? This blue hair makes me look like a weeaboo, dude. Oh my god. Honestly, overall though, I am not surprised that this dude also took the things from Buzzy. And I hope this guy gets what he deserves for, like, to go to prison, because this is not, like, this guy is just pure scum. Please, don't be like Patrick Spikes, seriously. If you're gonna work at Disney, just obey the rules, please. Don't be a dick like freaking Patrick Spikes. Good God. And as you could tell, this is just a crazy story related to Disney World that I had to talk about. It's not every day that Disney World would come out with such weird and crazy stories like this. So, with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to go and ask you guys, what do you all think about this crazy story about the Buzzy animatronic and how Robin Lopez accidentally ended up having his hands on these things? Because this just, let me just ask, what do you all think? Because this thing has been purely nuts. Okay. Well, I'm glad some people are enjoying it. Like, are already some people acting like, they're already acting like Tommy Wiseau, just there like, ha 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 ha, what a funny story, Matt. Okay. Let's see now. If he's going to steal and sell animatronics illegally, why didn't he do it for the ones that aren't as well beloved like Figment from the Imagination ride? If the Tiki Room under new management was still in operation, he probably would have hated Iago and Zazu, and he would have sold either of them, and not a lot of people would miss them. No, that is not the point. Holy crap, no. It's not the fact that the Buzzy animatronic is highly beloved. You gotta keep in mind, this is an old attraction that closed down years ago, or I would say even over a decade or two, that this ride was pretty much kaput, that they decided to close it off entirely. No, like, I don't think anybody was really missing Buzzy that much. It's not the factor of what's more beloved or not, it's just don't freaking do it! Don't trespass into territory that you're not allowed to go, and don't go taking things that don't belong to you. Don't go taking animatronics. Even if the area is closed, it still belongs to Disney. It still belongs to them no matter what. Just don't steal, period. It doesn't matter how highly beloved it is. It could be a freaking animatronic of like one of the cows from Home on the Range. And you still shouldn't go and take pieces from it. Stealing is bad. Trespassing is bad. Period. No matter what the thing is. Alright. Let's see. What else? Do we have any other comments? Buzzy's face describes my face on this news. Just Buzzy's face. you just look at Buzzy. It's like even that face. I do get what you mean. Even Buzzy's face is just looking at this like, what's going on? Okay. Anyway. Oh, we got a few more. Okay. Although I knew nothing about the guy, but wow, he is such an idiot. I don't know what kind of person does that, but I'm glad he got what he deserves. Plus, this video of him being tough is so hilariously bad. It has to be room bad. The lesson of the day is don't steal anything from Disney, or Disney might give you a good whipping. Oh, they'll give you much more of a good whipping. I'll definitely guarantee you that. Alright, I wonder what's going to happen with the Buzzy animatronic now Disney found it. Keep in mind, though, they didn't found the Buzzy animatronic, they only found parts of it. It is still overall missing, unfortunately, so we just need to wait and see if there's going to be more elements that are found, or if there are elements that are, or if it's like completely torn apart or something like that. So I just want to go and emphasize that it's not all of Buzzy that's been found, it's only some of Buzzy has been found. Alright, but with all that said, I think that should wrap this up for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, and what a blast of an episode it is! I've had so much fun in today's episode, and I hope you guys do as well, and hopefully you will join me for next time for AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. I got a feeling that we got some interesting stuff to go and discuss, and even maybe some more trailers. I heard Scooby-Doo is just right around the corner. So with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for listening. And until next time, see you later, dudes!